What is up, guys? You're in also your boy Kaki, back at it again with a new video. And in this video, I bring you Michael Wagner, co-founder and CEO of Star Atlas. Star Atlas is a grand strategy space exploration MMORPG built using blockchain technology. The goal of this interview is to break down the vision of this game in all aspects to a digestible level in which everybody can fall behind it. Your former career was spent working up the ranks of the traditional finance ladder. I did read that from a bio. You earn a CFA charter, which I actually researched. I didn't know what it was. And by my understanding, it certifies you as having a foundation in investment analysis, portfolio management, and has a strict emphasis in ethical practice, which for me was like, okay, that means that this guy is not going to run away with my money. That's basically what it means, right? Like, how to handle people's money.
So yeah, very rigid guidelines on both ethical standards and code of conduct in business. So, yep, you've got that part right. It was by the way, the CFA charter is a very rigorous series of exams. With the exception of the first exam, which can be taken twice per year, the option is only available to test on this once per year. So on average, it takes a person going through the CFA charter experience 4 years to complete the certification.
Interesting. Okay. So it's very, very important. This is a key metric in terms of like the team behind a game. That means there's a trust there with the certificate. That's what certificates are for. There's a trust behind it. Yeah. So let me see if I get this part right as well. In 2013, you got into Bitcoin mining, and since then, everything basically changed. You launched a company in the crypto space called Togs, which provides a number of blockchain-based services and infrastructure, and now you have co-founded Star Atlas along with some other notable members, which I have not done my research on because it requires LinkedIn and they have email and password, and I'm not doing that. So I passed on that. Maybe you can shine some light on Danny Floyd, Jacob Floyd, Pablo Kigora, and of course, anything about yourself that might be interesting to know so that people can better understand from what angle you're coming from when you thought about creating this game, because that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know my background better than I do at this point. You've obviously been following along with the AMAs and just the various interviews. But from a personal experience, I don't have any, I would say, direct game development experience. But what I do have is a lot of experience leading teams. As you noted, I've been in the space for a long time, 2013. So I have a very strong fundamental understanding of the technology that we're deploying across applications. Launched my first company in 2016, Toks platform, that's Multi-Chain Ventures today. Several of the co-founders that are on Star Atlas, Danny Floyd and Jacob Floyd, were on my team when we were building out Multi-Chain Ventures. So they were actually critical to developing and designing the software suite that we provide to the legal cannabis industry within the United States. Pablo is really industrious entrepreneurial individual I've known since 2015. He's been involved in several of his own startups. We've kind of connected at various points in our history, and was really quite fortunate to just end up on a bike ride with him. In fact, a lot of like the beneficial things that happen in my life happen on bike rides. The reason why I got into crypto in 2013 was on a bicycle ride with another friend of mine, who ultimately went on to be co-founder with me at Multi-Chain Ventures. But so Pablo and I are both road cyclists. We're both in Las Vegas right now. We were going out on a ride. He was kind of looking for the next opportunity, and I was explaining to him what we wanted to accomplish with Star Atlas, and it really captivated his interest, and he's come on as chief operating officer and co-founder really immediately before we formally launched the company in January. Now Danny Floyd is the chief product officer. He and I would say, in large part, really conceptualized what Star Atlas would be. I bring to the table more of the financial and economic standpoint, as well as, looking through various tokenomic and cryptocurrency mechanisms that we could build into the game. But he's got really the game development experience and background with over 20 years of experience building out AAA titles. I think a really interesting piece of information about him is that he worked on Earth and Beyond, which was released in 2003, I want to say, and it was one of the original space-themed MMOs. So he was a concept artist at the time, and now we're building out this kind of massive metaverse concept, which is also space exploration themed. And then Jacob Floyd is his brother. They've worked together on a number of video game concepts. I think they've released something like 1,000 titles across mobile game development. I might be inaccurate with that figure, but I know it was a lot. And so Jacob is the chief technology officer, and he's worked on, everything from DevOps and SRE, which is site reliability engineering, on our hosting infrastructure for all of our applications. This is more like Web 2.0 cloud infrastructure, to full stack development, as well as on the leadership team, of course, with the engineers, and ensuring that we're all kind of meeting our individual objectives in a synergistic way so that we can deliver a final product.
Damn, absolutely. That I want to point that out. There's synergy out here. First, you know them from the past. That's very, very important, because we have seen other games that come up with, AAA guy worked here, blah, blah, blah. But when you put the team together, that doesn't mean it's a successful team at all. There has to be synergy between the team. They have to understand each other, and that takes time. Building a relationship takes time. And obviously, you've known these guys for a while, and every single one of them brings something to the table and some type of expertise. And they're profound in that expertise, I can see. Like each person has a profound understanding of their expertise, and that's important. I think a profound understanding of something is better than just too many things, right? So it's deep. So I like that. I already like this. I didn't know all of this. So we already know what made you start this game, but this game is a massive vision. Like, what really sparked that interest? Because historically, this type of games, they fail. And I'm not trying to say this one's going to fail. Of course not. That's why we're here. We want to understand the game. We don't want it to fail. It's all the way around. But there's games, there's one, like, it's 10 years old. 350 million raised. 10 years in the making. Star Citizen, I think it was called, or is called. 400 people working on it. Still haven't delivered. It's crazy. It's crazy. So we don't want that to happen to Star Atlas. How are you guys going to approach this in a way that it just kind of gets delivered? I think that's one of the biggest concerns people have in general.
Sure. Yeah, we can really just jump right into the roadmap to kind of differentiate how our strategy is separate from some of the legacy AAA games that have been developed and released. And understandably, like the full AAA quality takes a long time. Cyberpunk, which was released last year, was so many people were anticipating the release of that and pre-purchasing the game. It was 7 years in development, and then it still wasn't polished and finished when it came out, which was unfortunate because the community was really pushing for any access that they can get. The gamers are hungry, and when they have a concept that they want to play, they're kind of pushing the developers. So it's important from both perspectives. One, we want to get a game out in a reasonable amount of time and have enjoyable experiences, but at the same time, it's important for us to ensure that we're delivering the highest quality experience, so we don't end up in this situation that Cyberpunk ended up in, where a lot of negative press, and I don't necessarily fault them for what was built or what was delivered, but I think the proper strategy might have been just delaying a little bit longer, despite the fact that they had multiple delays. So with that said, our strategy is to roll out incremental feature sets. So right now what we have that we just came to market with is the Rebirth Genesis of a Metaverse series. Now this is a digital art campaign. This is all of the digital art was entirely designed by our team in-house. We've worked with Shape Immersive out of Vancouver to implement AR overlays on every one of these pieces. So you're actually getting this three-dimensional animated immersive experience just by looking into the screen through your device. Now we've coupled every single one of these posters with an audio soundscape as well. In the case of the first poster, Discovery of Iris, we worked with Blondish, famous DJ, as well as vocal overlay by Jason Silva.
Hey,
and
Jason Silva is another level. I watch his videos. This guy is he's a little genie for sure. I love it. Yeah, keep going. I just wanted to.
Yeah, man. Well-known futurist, like very forward-thinking. He's had his show Brain Games on Nat Geo, and there's one more that I'm actually missing right now. But for us, it's to roll out events where we can have touch points with the consumer on a regular basis. And when I say consumer, that could be any a variety of demographics. Now, in this initial case, we're largely going after the people that are crypto enthusiasts and understand how crypto works. But our marketing plan does not stop there. The world is going to be, I think, fairly surprised with some of the things that we have coming up and the partnerships and relationships that we've already formed. So once we get through the meta poster sale, which is going to take place over the course of 14 weeks, we release one of these posters each week for 14 weeks. Once we get through the sale, the idea is to deliver a mini game concept, which is an in-browser experience. It does have some 3D elements to it, using 3JS, but it is still just in the browser, right? But you'll have the ability to engage in gameplay loops like ship configuration. You'll be able to construct and operate land and mining equipment. You'll be able to configure and build out orbital space stations. But perhaps more importantly, just early on, we're actually providing the people that are early adopters the ability to begin monetizing the assets that they've purchased with us. So all of the financial incentives and rewards that we've built out in the game, from true individual ownership of assets via NFTs and crypto native assets, which get released over time to people for participating in gameplay, including the decentralized finance components that we're building into the game UI, you'll be able to actually play and earn income off of that through crypto and through yield on the DeFi. Now, it's more of a tool to hold people over because there's already so much excitement and so many people telling us just how desperately they want to start playing now. But we are still, years away from the full release of the game, and at least a year and maybe 3 months away from the initial release of the game, which will be built in Unreal Engine 5, which is incredibly amazing game engine technology. So for us, we want to just make sure that we're dropping kind of nuggets along the way and making sure that people have something that they can participate in. And then the final part of this is that we kind of operate under this model of universal dream management. And what that means is we're constantly releasing small feature sets, and then we're incorporating and listening to the consumer and user feedback and the gamer feedback. We reflect on that. We implement those changes that we think are appropriate back into the game, and then re-release very quickly, right? So it's more of an iterative process instead of having very long blocks of time between releases.
Interesting. So you're letting the community build with you at the same time. That's a very interesting. I think I was gonna suggest that by the end of this interview, if it's something that you guys wanted to do, like boom, big, or maybe small world, then as demand increases, kind of like open up different areas of the universe. So I'm guessing it's gonna be something like that, like little blocks, kind of along the way. And that makes way more sense, especially because we're in crypto, and gaming, space MMOs is a niche, and then crypto is a niche, and then gaming within crypto is another niche. So you can count the people with your hands right now. So it's important to create demand and not have too much out there. Yeah, I see what you guys are doing. That makes a lot of sense. Now, let me ask you, for a game like this to succeed over a long period of time, we need a lot of active players. There's a lot of things to do in the game, like looking into the future. So what are some of the strategies that you guys are going to bring to the table to onboard people? Because are you guys going to go with the market, kind of like little by little? Because that makes the most sense. But is there any other strategies to bring people in from the outside and kind of like get them into like the Star Atlas world? And I think before you answer that, now that it came to my head right now, you know how Coinbase has like earn to learn to earn type of thing, like a little video, and then you click on it, and then once you finish it, you earn some tokens. That would be an interesting concept for Star Atlas, since it's such a big game. Little videos, you understand it, then you multiple choice, and then after that 5 Atlas tokens or whatever. That's I don't know if you guys are thinking about this, but yeah, is there any other strategies?
Oh, well, I think you just created a position for yourself within the company. We're going to need somebody to record these educational videos, so you might be the perfect guy for it. Yeah, I think we have a lot of things playing to our favor. So first and foremost, you kind of have to recognize the fact that we're building out a AAA title, which means we're developing to the highest quality standards of both content and storytelling. Now, while it will take us some time to build that out, that is a feature set that is attractive to the mainstream gamer. So we're not considering ourselves a blockchain game per se. We are a video game that is enhanced by financial incentives and rewards delivered via blockchain mechanics. So, that in and of itself should make us attractive to a broader audience outside of cryptocurrency. Now, on top of that, we do have these financial incentives that just don't exist in any mainstream games today. And a great example that I like to use is through our relationship with CAGYJAN with Yield Guild Games. Right, and we're seeing what's happening in some of these, particularly developing nations, and the interest to get involved in revenue generating blockchain gaming. And these are people that are not necessarily gamers at all, right? But they can actually earn a higher standard of living playing in a video game than they can by working a job in the local economy. And so this is really disruptive in so many different ways. And we don't really think of our core demographic of potential players as being, crypto community or blockchain gamers or even mainstream gamers. We literally have the entire world at our disposal of people that would be potentially interested in engaging with us for a variety of reasons. And that could be people that really want to play. That could be people that want to get into the metaverse and socialize. It could be industrious entrepreneurs that want to create businesses within the metaverse, or it could be, the stay-at-home mom that is looking for something to do during the day and is actually able to make some money off of it as well. And then on top of that, you have this, as I said, this kind of transformative disruption of local economy by delivering value through playing a video game. So, we have a lot working in our favor. We have a lot to accomplish, but I do think that we're going to have a considerable user base.
Absolutely, yeah. I know exactly who YGG is. I know who Gabby is. Know him like personally, Discord personally. That's a new
Sure.
personal, You know how it works. But yeah, Gabby, a very smart man, doing great things with YGG all over the gaming space for sure. All right, so let me ask you, why Solana? Why Solana Network? What is appealing to Solana about Solana that that works for a Star Atlas? Because I read in the white paper. Obviously, I read the white paper. I'm gonna leave the link down below for the people that have not read the white paper. Very important. Obviously, transactions, but my understanding is that everything will be on the blockchain. Like every single transaction. It's not like you do things in the game and then you kind of like bridge it out or something like that. It's almost like real time. Is that what Solana will provide to you guys?
Well, that is the objective of development. I do want to clarify that as we roll this out, there are going to be some traditional backend servers hosting some of the game data and game processes. What lives on chain are all of the assets, all of the financial resources, the entire decentralized economy, the crypto native assets, both Atlas and Polis that reside within the metaverse. Though all of these things live on chain. And then we will be incorporating as much, as many smart contract functionalities as possible. By way of example, one of the features we're working on right now, it's almost complete, is a faction and guild registration system that takes place via a smart contract. So we will actually know, not because we're storing it on our server, but because it's on chain, that you are registered to a particular faction out of 3 within the game. And when you set up your own clan and start recruiting members, that data will also live on chain. So as I said, our goal is to move to a metaverse that is 100% entirely on Solana. There's a lot of testing that needs to take place between now and then to ensure that we have the type of experience that is necessary to continue to be engaging to users. One of the areas of concern would be something like latency. Now, Solana is probably top class in this category, so they have very quick transaction processing times, greater than 50,000 transactions per second throughput. They do offer sub-second finality on transactions, so state changes within the network are approximately 400 milliseconds. However, you're a gamer, I'm a gamer. There's nothing we hate more than getting lag, right? Being laggy while you're playing.
That's trash.
Yeah, so I mean, we'd have to find some way to even resolve that, because even if it were 800 millisecond round trip state change, we're talking about almost a second that somebody has to wait for an action to be recorded or changed. So there were a few things we still need to resolve, but our goal is to get to that point 100% on chain. The last thing I'll point out though is I think we might have even spoken about this previously, but we do have one of our gameplay mechanics is this risk zone model, where we have a low risk zone, a medium risk zone, and a high risk zone. The rewards get better as you move up the risk scale. When you get out into deep space, losing an engagement with another player means your NFT would be destroyed. It would actually be burned off chain, and the other player gets to recapture some of the components that you had, whether that be like a crew member or modules or components from the ship, or in some cases, a salvaged hull, right? So that particular process actually will happen entirely on chain as well via smart contract, where the assets get moved into what is effectively an escrow account that we hold while they're playing in deep space, and then we can make the transition of assets, which again are on chain, based on being in that smart contract. So we're going to be tackling this as quickly as possible. I can't say with certainty that everything is going to be 100% solvable, but that is the vision.
Hey man, I appreciate the honesty. That's the most important part. If you can't achieve it, or you think there might be problems, just say it. That's what I like to hear. I don't like this BS. Like, yeah, we could do blah 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 blah. Come on, just be honest. That's it. That's all we want. Just be honest. And if you can't deliver something, hey guys, we couldn't deliver. We're gonna have to, Sometimes games play around because they feel bad that they didn't deliver. Just say you couldn't deliver, and it's all good. People would be mad for a little bit, but they'll appreciate that over the long term. That's the number one thing, just being honest. All right, can you explain in a digestible way, like super digestible? Don't have to go into like the deep things about this. The Atlas token and the POLIS token, and why two different tokens? I know one is governance, one is the Atlas. I know it doesn't have a. I'm not sure actually if it has a cap, or is it like there's an inflation over after 6 years, 4%. I read in the white paper, but just kind of like base level so that people understand this.
Yeah, let me start with the latter part of that question, which is why two tokens, and you really kind of nailed it though in your description of it. They just serve two different purposes, and we didn't want to commingle the currency of the economy with the governance of the economy, right? And so we have two separate models, and there's also that also allows us to divide an individual's particular interest. You might be interested in playing the game, and in which case you're going to really need Atlas to cover operating expenses. It's also going to be the primary reward mechanism that you receive from gameplay, but Atlas is really just the in-game gold. Okay, I mean it's what everybody will transact in within the metaverse. POLIS, as I said, is the governance token. It allows people to utilize that token in game for various strategic plays, like being able to impose taxes on someone else if they operate in a region that's controlled by another player. Outside of the game, though, and why I say there's differing motivations for the various stakeholders, is that outside of the game, if you're a POLIS holder, you can actually influence the game development decision-making process longer term. You can actually vote on things like the economy, the inflation rates, on asset releases, on feature releases, things like that. And the two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but they're also not 100% the same. So we felt it was important to provide different tokens for these entirely unique, feature sets.
Yeah, out of curiosity, because I've seen many games use one token. And I'm trying to learn economics as I go. Obviously, I've been 4 years here, and I learned a lot. I was never interested in economics, math, none of that crap. But this is super exciting to learn through gaming, through new technology. I read the Bitcoin standard, and that shit was like, dude, I was like, what the hell? Like, where have I been? And you give me that in school, and I would have been like the smartest guy,
Totally.
So what is it? Okay, you did explain both, like the separation. I understand it, but this versus a quick explanation. I just want to, out of curiosity, this model versus one token. What does one token kind of like? How can that affect the game? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to like understand why is it better, you know?
Yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate what you said though about kind of your interest being piqued and driving you to learn new topics as a result of gameplay. We actually think that that's a really big opportunity and kind of responsibility that we have. Through the introduction of these mechanics, we believe that we can teach financial literacy to people all over the world as well, because it'll almost be a necessity, right? As a real asset that has some risk associated with it, you'll actually want to be and encouraged to be educated on how it functions. And further, if we can make that process fun, then it doesn't necessarily feel like you're going through school. It feels like you're playing a game, but you're learning at the same time. And I think that that's really empowering to people around the world. With respect to, why is it better to have two? Once again, I think conflating the two, conflating the association and correlation between the currency in the economy with the political strategy of the game and with the governance rights externally, I just think would lead to an unfavorable outcome overall. So that's why we still wanted these functions to be separated from one another. It's I don't know if this is a good example. This is just really off the top of my head, but it's kind of like why the Federal Reserve is not actually a part of the government. It's a centralized bank, even though it's called the Federal Reserve. We all
Hmm.
know that it's not a federal entity, right? And so kind of like separating state from the currency issuance. Not that I'm entirely in support of our existing economic model globally, but nevertheless, it's kind of the same concept, right? You're separating governance from currency issuance.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I have, now that I think about it, now I thought about it a little bit deeper, and I have been in a position in different games where like I have this governance token, but then I have to use it in game, and I don't want to because I want to keep my governance. And although I can rebuy it, it's like no, I want to keep my governance and do things with
Yeah.
my governance, and then kind of like play the game and have like two separate. Yeah, it makes sense. It's starting to like click on me, based on other games that I have with tokens. All right, so what is the starting price for the public sale? Do we have that information?
Oh, we don't have any publicly official. We don't have a public announcement officially out on that yet. So, our token generation event is intended to correspond to the release of the minigame. Again, our target date on that is July 24th. We're giving ourselves a couple of weeks as a buffer in case game development goes over that. But July or August, we'll have the minigame launch. The token generation event will lead that by a couple of weeks. So likely sometime in June, we'll be making a formal announcement about token price and the various platforms where it can be acquired and things of this nature. So,
Okay, cool,
no,
cool. No
yeah,
problem, no problem. We'll wait, we'll wait. That's what I keep telling people in this space. You have to be patient. You have to be patient. Period. There's no way around it. We'll wait. So what is this is very important to me because I read on it. It's very interesting, but if you can break it down simple, it would be great because for other people as well. What is the UAMM? Is there a way to
yeah.
like break it down like digestible? Because that's a really interesting concept there that I saw.
Yeah, I think of it as probably the best way to consider this is just think of it as literally an empty pool,
Hmm.
starting as an empty pool, right? That you would like a swimming pool that you would swim in. Over time, what we do through our corporate structure is take a portion of the revenues through the asset purchasing, which is our primary method for earning revenue. We are a centralized organization. We're really a hybrid organization in that we are centralized game development company, decentralized economy. We once again synergize and make sure that our interests are aligned with that decentralized economy. So one of the things that we do, and this is coupled with a token a buy and burn model, but we take this empty pool and we start to put capital into it over time. Now picture that you have a floaty, right? And you're on like a tube in the pool. Over time, the water level is going to rise and you're going to rise with it. And so as we inject capital into that, it creates a bit of a kind of a safety net for the entire economy in that we never touch those funds again. Those are purely allocated to the community and to the token holders. And so if there was ever a catastrophic event, there is a price at which every single token that exists in the economy could be liquidated back into this pool and therefore drain that pool back down to zero. And the easiest way to explain that is just say, let's just use really small numbers. There's 10 units in circulation, and there's $10 in the pool, right? Then every unit could be sold for $1 back to us. Those units would be destroyed. All of the floating currency would be gone, and all of the essentially resources that were used as a safety net, a backstop, would also be exhausted. So
Interesting.
you can
Wow.
kind of imagine that over time, because it's only cash going in, it's never cash going out, right? Unless somebody else liquidates into it. It constantly creates a higher and higher floor with which the token value should not drop beneath.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look. I've seen other like variations of this, but I want to look into it a little bit more. That's a very interesting concept for sure. So, what are the different ways people can earn? I know we got node staking, careers, alternate gaming client, which is basically, I guess, it's open source. That's basically what it is. People can build things outside the game. Um,
E- Eventually, yes. Eventually, we'll have like player created content and the like. Yes.
so trading assets, mining, and obviously there's going to be a lending mechanism, which is going to be, I think, we still haven't seen that in blockchain. The renting business, I think the renting business is going to be insane. Um, so those are kind of some of the things that I know. Is there any one in particular that is the most important? I feel like node staking might be one of the most important there.
Yeah, I mean, really, the most prominent gameplay loop is likely to be land ownership with mining capabilities on it. And we're already discussing internally about not just having things like ore extracted from the earth, but actually allowing people to create their own farms with food and have food be a material input necessary within the metaverse. Like largely have to consume nutrients over time, and somebody will need to have a farm that actually transports that food to a place where people can purchase it and eat it. What we don't want to do is make this game boring and tedious by making sure that people are like always searching for food, right? So it still has to be fun, but um, the core gameplay loop currently is mining of ore. You can take that extracted ore and you can refine it. You can refine it to alloys and metals and other material inputs that go into the creation of things like ships. And so, and I will comment here that these ores are distributed all over the metaverse. So they're and not all in one region. Like to get a certain mineral, you might have to be operating in a certain region. Now, if you collect enough of these, you refine enough of these, you can actually construct your own NFT asset out of it. This will be a fairly complex process, especially if it's a very large item in the game with a lot of value, and you likely won't be able to do it all on your own. You'll need to go to the marketplace to trade with someone else. Let's say you can create steel, someone else can create carbon fiber. You either have to facilitate a trade or you just sell your steel for Atlas and then use your Atlas to buy carbon fiber from someone else. We see this as being like a true implementation of a supply chain within an economy that's fully functional, and a lot of trade routes and an exchange of value in one way or another, with Atlas being at the center of all of that. So that's the main gameplay loop. But if we have a really fun career that's just data runner. So the map is essentially like under fog of war when you first land into the game. So you don't know where everything is at. But a data runner can be in a very fast ship, like small ship, and go explore, and then they get to capture the data of the universe that they've explored. And so now they're essentially map sellers, right? They've collected this data. They can turn around and sell
That's cool
maps.
as fuck, dude. What?
Yeah, they can sell maps on the marketplace to someone else. And if you don't want to go do the exploration, you just purchase a map that somebody's already done the exploration for. And there's like freight runners, cargo hauling, all of these different careers that we have in there. Um, um, One of the other, though, I think really compelling components of the game is that we're going to keep this open to creating any type of business that you want, especially longer term. And I've been using this example quite a bit lately, but we can host digital concerts within Star Atlas. We can actually have, say, a DJ set taking place out in the middle of space on a dreadnought, right? And we can implement something like a Dyson sphere, which is effectively like a portal, a wormhole, if you will, allowing players to access that point. Now, two things come out of that. One is the Dyson sphere can be a ticketing gate. So if Aoki wants to come play a set in our game, or basejackers want to come play a set in our game, they can do so, right? And it's in AR, it's in virtual reality. So so they fly to the ticketing gate, they pay their fee, the fees go to the performer, and now the gamer gets to experience this event in game. But what happens if you don't own anything in Star Atlas, but you still want to go to this concert and you have a VR headset? Well, you're able to land on a space station, and then somebody can say, well, I've got a big ship. I will load as many of you people into my ship as possible, but you have to pay me $5, worth of Atlas, and I'll take you out to the concert, and then I'll come pick you up when it's over.
Hell
Right?
yeah,
So
dude.
like
That's cool.
so like
That's
all
cool.
I mean, it's just like limitless possibilities of ways that people can create revenue that don't have to be driven entirely by the game mechanics that we're building.
Damn, absolutely, yo, that's cool as hell. That's super like that's one of the, who did that very very well was Fortnite.
Yeah.
What a game changer to have, like, artists come in and do live concerts and stuff like that's crazy. Yeah, I want to see that more.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Epic Games, they're the ones that created Unreal Engine that we're going to be using, and they also just got an infusion of $1 billion to
That's a
develop out
leak.
their own metaverse.
That's a leak, yo. They're connected. There you go. Pump it.
No, no, we don't. No affiliation currently. No, but we'll see. I wish that was true.
It'll happen. It'll happen. Okay, so user generated content. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean that people
Yeah.
can, create their own thing, like you said? Is that how does that gonna work?
Yeah. So once again, think of the metaverse as kind of this evolving, living being. When it first starts, there will be very little difference between Star Atlas the game and Star Atlas the metaverse. It's essentially encapsulated in the same shell. Over time, however, as the shell expands, the game will also expand, but not at the same rate as the shell. And so it creates opportunity for people to participate in other types of activities that aren't necessarily fully encapsulated by our gameplay mechanics. Once again, you can come into the game, or rather, you can come into the metaverse, and it's not like you're going to see barriers around this. All right, it is all completely seamless. But what I mean is, you can come into the metaverse with no intention of actually flying a spaceship or attacking other players or even owning, say, land for mining. You don't have to do any of those things. You can be a business operator. Say that you want to create a digital art gallery with curated art. Just on some space station. And now other people can come in, they can view your gallery once again, in VR, they can view your gallery. They can actually just engage in a shopping experience, purchase these NFT digital art pieces, and save it for their collection. So we've just created a retail experience within the Star Atlas metaverse that is completely independent of the game itself. And so we think that this could be a great place for people to socialize, form community, and just kind of like almost like a chat room, right? But a virtual chat room. So
basically, pump it, dude. Pump it. I'm kidding.
I do know. There's nothing to pump yet. So I'm not worried about it.
That's the point. Oh man, that's a good one.
I do know that a lot of players are interested, or not players, but like designers are interested in being able to, say, create their own ship models, right? Or create skins, things like that. So we do absolutely want to be able to facilitate that. With the exception being that, especially earlier on, we have our quality standards that we want to maintain. So we're thinking right now internally about like how do we enable a process for people to create their own content that can be used in game. Say you created a ship, say you designed a ship and you launched it, you become a new manufacturer in the game, and people have the ability to purchase your game asset from you just within Star Atlas. And you essentially become licensed by us some way to create those assets. So
absolutely, yeah. Like if you could be like a fashion designer, whatever you want, basically. And that doesn't mean that it comes from the game. You come from the outside and be like, okay, I design clothes for different like skins or whatever. Um,
I love that you said that, by the way. I mean, we are um, I don't know if I can make any announcement on it just yet, but we're working with digital fashion designers currently to create apparel lines within the game that people can purchase and customize their characters with. And we do see digital fashion as being something that's going to be very prominent into the future because people love to customize their character. You know, like
hmm
that's I mean that's where more money is spent on it than anything else.
Incredible.
Just earlier today, I was talking about Counter-Strike. You know, how I've played Counter-Strike for 20 years already, and um, I get in there, man, and there's like these 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds that have like the best skins in the game, and I'm still running around with my default stuff because I just, I don't care that much about having the custom skins in Counter-Strike. But there's these entire like gambling markets surrounding CS:GO skins, so
That's
people love it. I
content.
mean, a lot.
That's
Yeah,
content, man. I love.
yeah,
I didn't understand that content until later on. Because I saw the streamer 100K viewers, and I'm like, dude, this guy is literally opening boxes. Like,
yeah.
bro, what the fuck, dude? It's just fun. It's just fun. If you do it like responsibly, like you buy a 1K, 2K, 3K, whatever one day, and you're like, okay, let's open a bunch of things, just like Pokemon cards. Like, oh, let's
Yeah.
just open. Yeah, there's a market there to make a bunch of cash, for sure. And if you connect that digital fashion to actual something that people can wear in real life and kind of like express themselves in terms of like, okay, yeah, I love Star Atlas, and at the same time I have this shirt in the game. That
Yeah.
would be interesting as well to see, for sure. Okay.
I
um
yeah.
I don't know if you had anything else to add there. My bad.
No, I was just going to say I completely agree. That was
Oh
all I
yeah,
had.
for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna skip a few questions. We're kind of like at 40 minutes. I don't want to get you tired here. So, will there be some type of mobile asset management? This is a thought I had when I was writing this question. It would be cool to have a pet in game that can do minimum task. You can manage it from your phone, and it's almost like a Tamagotchi, right? It's a tradable asset. It's rare. It's whatever, right? That would be really really cool.
I don't know who's been leaking information to you, but that's
No, I just thought
we
about that. Yeah.
well, it's a great thought then because we are introducing pets into the game, and the pets are they're unique NFTs as well, and they will have their own little minor buffs, if you will, boosts to your character. So one can be like a repair bot, and I don't know, they're intended to be personable and just kind of
Yeah,
company
little
while
things.
you're in
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, with respect to mobile activation, we hadn't really considered whether or not the pet would be controllable via mobile, but I was honestly watching my buddy play Cyberpunk on Stadia, and it looked as good as if he was playing it on his computer. And it was fast and it was operational. I was like blown away. So we've been considering like asset management in the sense of if you have processes that need to be completed, say you need to like hit a button to take your ore sled from the mining plant up to the orbital space station so it can be refined. So a point where you can like click into your phone, you can activate that action and keep the game moving forward, keep your economic benefits moving forward.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, you guys are thinking about all of this stuff. That's great. Okay, VR, very very important. Okay,
Mhm.
VR is something that hasn't blown up yet. In reality, it's something that is. The good thing is that this game is. People got to think about it 2 3 years ahead, so that's good.
Mhm.
We'll get to a point where like VR is going to be a little bit better for the eyes. People are going to feel more comfortable, better designs, less weight, whatever. How will VR connect to the game? Will it be occasional VR moments, or will it be like, okay, I'm playing right now, and then I'm like, okay, I feel like VR right now, boom, and I'm in. Is it like that, the transition, or is it more like in different occasions that you can use it?
Yeah, it's going to be more occasional. The way we're thinking of it right now is more in the sense of, if you're walking around on a space station or if you're walking around on land, you could use your VR to have that experience, or when you're flying around in your ship. But to your many notable points, VR isn't quite, you know, where we want it to be yet, both from the perspective of graphical fidelity, but also from the standpoint of user experience. Um, you know, have you ever played Alex?
No.
No. So it's like Valve's spin off from Half-Life that's in VR. But you know, to me, it's still functional, but it's a little bit clunky when you have to like use the controllers to try to move as opposed to, you know, just hammering down W and moving forward, right? Or using your controller, whatever you play with. But so I think there's still a lot of room to improve. We'll um, from the VR standpoint. So ours is more to create a more immersive experience when you're actually navigating in space and you're able to like look around in your spaceship and you can see everything from. We have a lot of glass on our ships and we've done all of that intentionally. And even our space station is completely encapsulated effectively in glass. So what you see in a lot of sci-fi space kind of not only games but even movies is this dark kind of like, you know, it's gray and it's drab and it's dreary and a lot of metal everywhere. But we actually want to make it a little bit more scenic. So within one of our space stations, we have this entire beach concept, which it just like it hasn't been done before, right? But it's going to be like a beach on a space station out in the middle of space. We think it's going to be cool. We want like to bring more light into the space genre.
True, 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 and that makes a lot of sense actually. I was watching a video the other day, and it's a bunker. It's about a bunker, in case you know a bomb detonates or whatever. And they have this big ass bunkers that you could buy for millions of dollars, right, for super rich people, and they have beaches inside and everything to simulate like kind of like the earth, right, like things
Yeah.
so people don't get bored over time, because if an explosion goes on, like some type of atomic thing, right, you're not going to be able to go outside for a lot of years or many months, right? And
Yeah.
it's interesting because earth, I mean the galaxy feels like there's nothing out there, like you said, so bringing
Yeah.
elements and kind of recreating it inside, that would be cool. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this is
Yeah.
the last question.
Great.
I know you guys are working on the Unreal Engine 5, which is quite amazing. I've seen videos on it, and that plays into what you were talking about, doing this immersive kind of like look that is not like just like the other games, right? Like it's more crisp. You feel it more. So I know that allows you to do extremely detailed without much effort compared to before, right? But are there any challenges right now with the Unreal Engine 5 that you guys are facing, or is it something that is already working that you can just kind of pick up and go right now?
Well, yeah. So first and foremost, Unreal Engine 5 is not available yet. So
Okay.
it'll be later this year where UE5 comes out, or early next year. We're shooting for early access. There is a version of it that's floating around for game developers. We just don't have access to it yet. So I also just want to point out that we right now are working on developing out the mini game concept. So it's really more web development is where our engineering team is focused. For those of you that are Unreal Engine developers out there, we are actually looking to start to hire game developers very soon here that will begin the work in the fully immersive 3D world. So you can email us at careers@staratlas.com if interested, honestly. But no, I think you really hit on a very valuable point, though, and one of the reasons why we believe we'll be more efficient in our game development is because of all of the features that come natively to Unreal Engine 5. So we think we'll be able to build faster than a game like Star Citizen, because Star Citizen also built its own game engine, right? They didn't use anything that was out of the box. We're not starting with that. So that immediately cuts off probably a couple of years of development, right? So plus, I don't know. Everything I've seen, and probably everything you've seen on Unreal Engine, just absolutely shatters my mind every time I see a new video
Yeah,
come
it's,
out.
it's
So
crazy.
yeah. So I think, you know, I think that that's going to be a great choice for us, and I think it's going to help us a lot in getting the game out to people sooner.
Absolutely. Yo, it was a pleasure to talk to you, man. You're cool as fuck. I thought you were gonna be this suit tie guy, like yo, like, you know, like, and you come out like yo, no, we're having fun. That's cool, man. That's cool. That's the attitude here, because I really I'm scared of this space getting too serious. That's why I troll so much. You know, I
Yeah.
could be serious. I truly can, but at the same time, it's kind of boring. to be just straight up corporate, like, oh yeah, like, yeah, you're under me, like, fuck that shit, you know, like, let's be cool, you know, like, I like that, man. I like that.
I tell my team, because I think I had my my days in suits behind me, and I have told them constantly that my objective is to never have to put a suit on again. Like, I'm totally happy being in shorts and a t-shirt, man, and
Sure,
just doing this stuff. Yeah.
hell yeah,
So
man, hell yeah, that's how I live my life too, man. Just black t-shirt, gray t-shirts, that's all I have. Bam, just grab it in the morning, don't even worry about that, you know, who cares at the end of the day.
and so
Yeah.
and some amazing hair,
Yeah. You too, man. You got the swagger. You got the swagger. Yo,
Thanks,
thank you
man.
so much. I appreciate it. Guys, make sure you follow Star Atlas on Twitter. Make sure you follow them on Telegram as well. Or you join Telegram, join Discord. I'll leave the links down below, also in the description, in the comments as well. This game, I'm bullish on this game right now. Really, I am. After this talk, I'm more confident on this game. I can talk about this game like I own this. You know, like I'm part of the team right now. That easy. I really, I saw the vision. I just didn't grasp it until now. Until I spoke to Michael. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it, man. Much love.
Okay, thanks so much, man. Yeah, absolutely.